Welcome to Game Breakers, episode number 3, where we look at bringing tips, insights and experience from around the world of sport. My name's Rob Nicolay, and today again, I'm joined by my co-host Danny Wilson. But today, our guest is none other than former Featherstone, Sheffield, Castleford, Widnes and most notably York City Knights player and now head coach, described as one of the most promising coaches in the game, James Ford. Thanks for joining us, James.
Oh, cheers. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Do you want to jump in, Danny?
Yeah, just like to echo Rob's thoughts. Welcome, James, and I just congratulate you on a very successful coaching career so far and what will be the start of a long journey for you, mate.
Yeah, cheers. And really, I feel like I'm really fortunate to have the position, to be in the position that I'm in. Every day, I'm really thankful to have the responsibilities that I've got, and I'm looking forward to being involved. I hope I'll be involved for a very long time.
Sweet. Obviously, I would just touched on there, described as one of the best young coaches within the game at the moment. How would you describe yourself personally in one sentence?
Not as one of the best young coaches in the game. I'd just say I was pretty driven to be better. I'm very aware of my own strengths and weaknesses, and I don't lie to myself. I know where I need to be better, and I know what I'm good at, and I'm driven to improve in the areas to make best for my players.
Does that change, James, when it comes into your normal day-to-day life? As a partner, a son, as a man, is it still the same type of character, or does that change?
It probably depends who you speak to, Danny. My missus is looking at me there. She'd probably describe me as absent or empty. But I think when you put so much into one side of your life, there is going to be a knock-on effect. And I'm very grateful and thankful that my partner is very understanding and supportive. I'm the same in everywhere else. I was a teacher for 12 years, and there were parts of that job that I were really interested in, and really was driven to be the best I could be. I wanted to be a really good practitioner in terms of delivering classes and understanding learning, and I suppose exciting students to want to be better. But I couldn't sit here and look you in the eye and tell you, I were really driven to fill in all the admin that goes with it, and all the box ticking that goes with being a lecturer these days. So I think if there's an interest there, if I feel like there's a purpose there, then yeah, I probably am really focused and driven to being good on and better at stuff. If it's something I don't value, then I'll easily just kind of skirt past it.
Yeah, I've known you for a while, Fordy, and I think one of the words I'd use to describe you is obsessed with the game, and your journey into. Some people might look at where you've come from over the last probably 2 years, but that hasn't been something that's just happened. You've put a lot of work into that. And when I say obsessed, could you probably expand on why I might think like that in terms of when you've tried to develop yourself as a coach and where you've been?
Yeah, well, actually, I won't say it's obsessed. I just say it's just trying to be better, trying to do my job properly. I see a coach's role as you're almost there to serve the players, give them the best opportunity to be the best they can be, the best team they can be. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing your job. There's not many head coach positions available in rugby league. And as a young player, I probably came across too many head coaches who didn't go above and beyond to help players in all different disciplines in life and as a player. And I kind of resented that, and it probably showed a little bit in my performances. So I just feel like it's what I should be doing. I should be looking for every avenue to be the best I can be, because all coaches are very quick to go back to the players and ask them to put X and Y in the game and develop this and just work a little bit on your physical side as well. So if you've got to be part of that journey too. You've got to be honest with your playing staff, and you've got to be on that. I've shown that drive to be better than what you were the day before as well.
You touched briefly on there about things that you probably resented as a player. Obviously played Super League and been in that environment. What type of things did you pick up then that you might have resented then that you absolutely will not do now, or you make sure you're better at?
Uh, lack of work ethic, the lack of attention to detail, not really taking the time to build relationships with players. I'm not going to name any names, but I turn up and you'd be doing drills or simulations that just very little purpose, very just being there rather than practicing with purpose to get better. Probably coaches and not really understanding where a player's coming from or where he has come from in terms of the support or relationship he needs to build with them. And as a young person, you are difficult. In your early 20s, we are difficult, aren't we? And I just think I don't think I was surrounded by great coaches, and I don't think it really helped me. And I think that probably, if you like, started my desire to want to be a coach and want to see the game move forward and want to see clubs and players move forward. I mean, how many coaches do you know are happy just to be at a club and it kind of stagnate and just be where it is? To me, that's just ridiculous. When you're at a club, your ambition should be to take that completely out of the ballpark. Take League One clubs into Super League. If you haven't got that ambition, then I think you should move aside and let somebody else have a crack.
Yeah, and I think on that, like say, looking from the outside, that York side and that group, especially the last couple of years, it looks like it's a sort of a great environment to play in as well. It's got a good culture. How would you explain sort of the togetherness of that group that you've got?
Yeah, well, do you know what? I think some of it was done accidentally rather than design, and obviously I've done a little bit of research recently and found out that it was a good accident. In terms of the connections that we have with the players. So obviously there's a lot of togetherness based on we're always interacting with each other on WhatsApp. We know each other personally, socially. We eat food after training with each other, and so there's almost like a post-session review forms. On its own without me kind of leading it, and the players get opportunities to feedback via WhatsApp in terms of what they would prefer to work on in training. So they kind of we're trying to empower them a little bit, and then once they're empowered, we will make it really clear as to what our aims and objectives are, so they know where they need to get to. So there's a real positive vibe in our preparation. Lots of clarity, and I do believe the players feel that they've got some control and some say, which I do believe helps engagement and helps that kind of positive feeling around the place.
Did that take some changing over time, or do you think it just sort of came naturally then?
Good question. I think what probably helped dramatically were having players like Ben Cockayne and Graham Horn and Tim Spears, players who I knew were probably better players than I were, and I wanted to tap into their experience, their knowledge, and I wanted to use them as you like to set the culture, if you like, to design. Yeah, set the standard. So in terms of extras, in terms of what were acceptable in training, away from training, how you prepare for games. Me saying it and going on about it is one thing that's going to tick one box, but Arnie coming at it from his angle was quite a funny guy, quite a calm guy. That's ticking another box, and then obviously there's Ben and Tim coming from their angles, which is we're going to lug oil you, and I just think that we set a really good kind of clear picture of what a York player does and why they do it that way, and it was really driven by them three senior players.
I like that, and one of the questions in here is about attributes of a good leader, and I was going to ask you to kind of summarise what a good leader looks like to you, and you've probably done that already, and you picked out some key points. So firstly, I will let you have the opportunity to just kind of summarise what that leadership qualities look like, but then I want to tag on to the back of that is how much trust do a playing group like a Graham Horn and a Ben Cockayne have to have in you to be able to portray your message?
Go back to a leader. First thing that I would say is authenticity. Be yourself. We've all been there when somebody's trying to be a little bit different, trying to be a little bit quirky, or trying to take up stuff that doesn't really sit with their skill set. And you just see straight through it. And I think people and players especially probably lose a little bit of respect for people who are showing a little bit, showing that kind of thing. So first, authentic. then obviously I think you've got to be a really good communicator, and you've got to have relationships with your staff and your players. So therefore, you get to know the other ones in terms of who can really drive your standards, who you don't really. I don't need to watch Tim Spears in the gym, so I don't. But there might be one or two that I do. So I make sure that I'm really close to them all the time without letting them know why I'm there. And so I think, the relationships, the authenticity, and whatever else I said as well, communication.
I think all those three things bode well to help Tim, Ben, and Graham buy into you as a coach and deliver your message. Without that trust or that buy-in, I'm sure that would be fractured, and that's when a coach would struggle.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what I'll probably often do with them guys is I'll kind of pre-plan it and have a chat to them about it. So look, Tim, we need to improve in this area. This is what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to leave it to you. And but I want you to address this and this and this, and or you might tip Graham up that we need to do a little bit more extras on skill wise, and can you pull these players? And I think they respond to being trusted. I think they giving them that responsibility. I do think that they grow, and because leaders aren't born. You're made, aren't you? You're made by your practice and doing things over and over again and seeing stuff and learning from your mistakes. And I'm sure. Well, I know Ben and I knew Tim as a kid as well, and they didn't have the same characteristics that they've got now.
Mm-hmm.
So just going on that, like say experience that you're talking with people there, who would you say has had the biggest impacts on you over the last 5 years?
Over the last 5 years. I don't know. It's a tough question. I really enjoyed working with Graham. I thought he was a really, really smart rugby player, and I took a lot from Graham in terms of executing structured attack. And but probably the person that's influenced me the most, probably longer than 5 years ago, I'd probably say a coach called Mick Cook, an assistant at Leeds under Tommy Smith. And when I started in the under-20s at York, unbelievably, he was my assistant coach. And he'd come from Leeds, right? Tony Smith, the Tony Smith to come away with. Crazy. But just like how he structured sessions and why he structured them in a certain way and how he was with the players, I just thought he was excellent. I just thought he was just an absolute top coach, and he'd take the time to watch me do things, have a little smile to himself, and come over and ask me some questions here and there about what I might have said and what do I think now I'm not as irate. Would have been a better option, and I just thought he was excellent, Cookie, and it's a shame he doesn't want to be involved in the game anymore.
It's always good to have that kind of mentor there, some support, especially from an early age, and credit to Cookie there to helping you out. And I can't imagine you ever been hot-headed in a situation for the nice and calm ball.
Yeah, well,
and go on.
You should say that, Danny, but I've got myself in a few tricky situations.
All part of the learning process, though, and I think when you're talking now, you're quite clearly very humble in where you're at, and obviously that's probably because you see yourself having a long way to go, and absolutely should. Your background is in teaching, that you've touched on. How close are they correlated, or I mean, some of the greatest coaches have come from an education background. Is that chance, or is it?
No.
Education.
I'd say they're absolutely go hand in hand. They're incredibly similar in terms of planning the curriculum. You look at pre-season, to me it's a curriculum. It's things you're going to cover through a programme and how you're going to cover it, how you're going to reinforce it to create learning, to stretch players, give them opportunities to fail, give them feedback, different types of feedback. You've got to think about, you can't all be negative. You've got to come at it from different angles. You might have some people in your group who are excellent at learning and such. They've come from a different. They're a bit advanced. Some are a bit behind, and that's just teaching. And it's exactly the same. Apart from these are a bit older, and they've got more of a mind of their own. And to be honest, I enjoy it much more. I do really enjoy being out on field with boys rather than being in that classroom with some younger ones. For sure.
I think with that, you've all got a common interest. If you're in a classroom, there's some students that probably might see something else past that hour session, want to go and do it. You've got to really kind of hone your skills, because your group of players is very mixed. If you know, when you make that step up with Super League, whether that be York or in a different role, the different, not necessarily calibre of players, but where they are on their journey would be different. Like you see, you've got Graham and Ben coming back. You know, they're coming to the twilight end of their career, and then you have some young kids that maybe are stepping out of academy rugby and trying to find a way to top end championship or Super League. Is that a difficult task? Do you see that being different to Super League?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. It would be different. You're working with genuinely world-class players. I think it'd be exciting. I think it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I certainly think there'd be less tell. I think there'd be more ask, and there'd be more, self-discovery. I read something about Craig Bellamy. Letting his players kind of come to him and tell him how they're going to play and set their own, standards, what he needs to review them against. And do you know what? If you had Cooper Cronk and Cameron Smith, you go with that, wouldn't you? But I still believe players, need a good culture. They need rewarding when they're in their effort's high. They need reminding when they're dropping below standards. They need opportunities to reinforce skill, to the game, to their position, to the opposition that they're playing against. So there could be, it would be different. I'm looking forward to it when hopefully I do get the opportunity to do that. But I certainly won't be overawed by it. It's just part and parcel of the occupation that I'm wanting to do.
I think from being overawed by maybe considered pressure, I think you've shown how you can cope with that. And part of this podcast was trying to really delve beneath the skin of James Ford personally, as well as the professional. But we'll probably leave that for another time, because I think what you're talking about and how you answer questions straight away quite clearly show how embedded in your job you are. And I think when we talk about pressure, there's probably none more so than when, probably the 2018-19 season, where you probably exceeded expectations in the league. Probably, I know what your aspirations is to get York to Super League that season, and still is. And people probably laughed at you at the beginning of that year. How did you cope with that? What was your thought process? And the outcome was exceptional.
Well, there's two James Fords, and there's the James Ford that I want to be, and sometimes, most of the time, I am that person, and there's the one that kind of slips out now and again, and the one that probably slips out now and again probably would have been a bit cheesed off, and maybe muttered a few choice words and just showed a little bit of immaturity about it, and probably got myself in that James Ford got myself in trouble on the touchline at Oddsville when I got a touchline ban. But the James Ford I'm aspiring to be, and to be more consistently, just shrug it off. It's don't worry about the things you can't control. I can't control what you believe, Danny. Sorry, I can't believe that.
I believe in you,
mate.
I believe in you.
And to be honest, I'm not that fussed. I'm fussed about my players, my environment, and us being the best we can be. And if other teams think that we're gonna struggle, so what? If we're a team, and we just focus on what we can control, and that is turning up every day and being the best versions of ourselves. And if we do that, then I'll be happy. If we don't, then I won't.
You've had some fantastic moments. I feel sorry for this Dave character, who obviously gave you a lot of abuse at the time when you wanted to achieve them things, and you did. So congratulations on that.
You touched on a bit about your, in a way, the roundabout way, about your coaching philosophy. Just within there, what sort of personally sets you apart from everyone else, do you think?
I don't think. Really, I don't think. We've had a couple of decent years. I don't particularly think we've achieved anything yet. It's a tough question to ask.
Look, I think you're skating around the answer for it. I think there is definitely something that sets you apart. I was not to know from where you've come from to what you're achieving already and being rated as one of the best young prospects. How is there not something that sets you apart from, somebody who's been in that situation and probably not quite achieved them heights or had a future like you're probably going to have? Come on, give us it.
Well, I think in many ways I'm fortunate that I've got a massive love of the game. I just love rugby league. I can watch any game of rugby league and be absolutely enthralled by it. What they're trying to work out, what they're seeing, why they're doing that. And I spent 12 years teaching. It's almost 12. I spent 12 years practicing being a head coach. So I'm fortunate that them two occupations are so closely linked that I've probably developed my skills a little bit more than a coach with the same years of experience as me has had, because he might have been, I don't know, an accountant for 10 years of his life, and then he's coached for 5 years, where I've been a teacher for 12 years and a coach for 5 years. Well, really, I've been a coach for 17 years, and I've made an awful lot of mistakes. I've done some daft stuff. I've delivered some crap lessons. I've come at things in a completely wrong way. But I'm keen to reflect. I'm keen to be better, and I think 17 years of making mistakes has helped me get to the level I'm at now. But I don't mean that in a way that I'm putting myself on a pedestal or saying I'm Darryl Powell, because I know I'm not. I've got a million and one things where I need to be better.
Outstanding. Love that. Thank you for that detail. What's the end? What's the end goal?
Well, so what? People probably laugh, but obviously I want to coach Super League. I want to win Super League. I want to win the Challenge Cup. I want to coach England, and I want to beat Australia. And when I've achieved all that, I'll probably have some I'll probably be satisfied with where I'm at in life. But up until then, that hunger and that drive will remain. And I suppose.
You had a little taste of that last year, beating the Aussies for England, albeit at academy level.
It was great, absolutely great. I loved working with the EPU. Met some friends for life. Really clicked with Jamie Langley. Got a lot of respect for him. Built some really positive relationships with some of the young players. Let myself down a little bit in one of the games. I was on the sideline, and one of the Aussies, he's only probably 17, and he's walking past me. He's looking dejected, and I've grown up with Australia beating us. He's walking past me, and I've just tapped him on the back to get used to that. Get fucking used to that. 5 minutes later, I'm like, why? Why was that? I'm 37.
When you try to sign that player in Super League with head coach, it might come back and bite you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's two James Fords. One's an absolute dickhead, and one's all right.
Brilliant.
I was just going to say there, Fallon, what's frustrated you the most about your coaching career when you see other coaches or players do? What frustrates you the most? What brings out the dickhead James Ford apart from most things?
I'll tell you a story, really. Which did bring it out. We got accused of a lack of integrity, if you like, against Bradford. You guys will know Liam Salter is one of the toughest human beings I've ever come across. He literally runs in a straight line head first into people. He's trying to encourage you to run into spaces, and that's alien to him. So he's clashed heads, assaults, and we've used our subs up as we do every week. We'll play the last 10 minutes with no subs left because we try and stay fresh earlier. And Salts comes off, concussed. He's got nose to one side, his face is covered in blood, and so then we get a free interchange, don't we? You get a free, so then we put somebody on, moved. I think we ended up with Chris Bryan in the centre, the hooker in the centre. So it was hardly an intentional manoeuvre to disadvantage, take one of our best players off, to put a hooker out of position. But then the Bradford bench jumped up in arms about us cheating, faking concussions. And what I should have, I can't control that, can I? I just leave it. Leave it to the doctor. The doctor's a professional person. He's giving the signs of concussion, etc. But of course, I didn't. And then there were a couple of sentences exchanged between me and one of Bradford players, which kind of got out of hand a little bit. To which, probably 10 minutes later, I did apologise to him because I didn't want to fight him in car park after I calmed down. Yeah. But there you go.
Well, I suppose that leads on to the next bit then. What's your biggest area that you could improve on?
Yeah, I'm aware that I can lose myself for a moment or two, and I am working on that because that when you lose that little bit of composure and control, you're probably not making the best decisions, are you? And that's part of my journey, and I'm aware of it. I'm working on it, and it's the same in sessions. And Danny's seen it, where you're delivering a drill or a game, and when you compose, you're giving good feedback, and when it's happening there and then, you might not be as calm and as composed and articulate with what you deliver, which ultimately, I suppose, it's important because it can damage relationships between you and your playing group. It's something I'm certainly keen to work on. But I do feel that my honesty is a strength, but I just probably need to come at it from a more consistent angle. And in terms of, I just think in terms of the game, you never stop learning, do you? You never stop learning about technicalities of it, tactical things. One of my favourite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know. I could sit down and someone could tell me something that they assume that I've got a great grasp of, I've never heard it before. And you won't know that until you come across it.
And then what would you say is your biggest value that you hold as a coach?
What, within myself or within?
Yeah, within yourself.
I'd probably say I'm reflective and honest with myself. So, like I said earlier, I know when I've made a mistake, and I know when I've done something positive, and I think that then allows you to improve. I think if you're going to lie to yourself and blame other people, I'm not going to blame that Bradford player. I'm not going to blame that Bradford coaching staff for that incident, because ultimately that's not going to help me improve it. It was me who reacted. So it's completely my fault. It's me I'd have got filled in carpet, actually. So it's me who needs to improve in that area. But I think that's probably one of my main strengths, so my willingness and honesty in terms of reflection.
I just think as we try and bring this to a close now, and some really, especially for every coach, every player and community coach, I think there's some real kind of good nuggets in there you can pull out. I certainly will, and use them moving forward as a coach myself. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to put under the podcast or wherever we can get out, Twitter, whatever, certain amounts of resources for coaching sessions. What would be James Ford's go-to drill? If you could pick one that he'd use all the time, or activity, what would it be and why?
Well, we use a lot, really, but I kind of like, we call them simulations. So we might have a theme where you're working on a specific part of the game. So we might be exit simulation, where we might select a side, back row to back row on team A. So you've got your forward pack, you've got your 1, 6 and 7, and they're basically working on plays, if you like, 2, 3, 4, 5 transition into D. And then on the other side, you have your back 3, because you might have another full back, centres and some back rowers. They're working on plays, kick return, plays 2 and 3, and we repeat that over and over. Obviously, you do your general skills and your positional skills first, and then you might do a bit of con into that simulation to create that pressure. So basically, just really clarifying roles, expectations, triggers that we're looking for, both sides of the ball, lines of carry, forwards that play hand on the ball. So it's a really specific drill to coming out of yardage pretty well, and we do it at least once a week, probably 8 to 12 minute blocks into some reactive games. So what we were looking for is a real structured, composed way of coming out of yardage, where we can transition where we want to transition, but at the same time we've got to be ready to play. So there's triggers both sides of the route we're looking for. So we'll switch from, if you like, the structured, methodical, mechanical drill where you just work on your jobs, practicing your jobs over and over again, bang, and then you might drop into some small-sided games where you're ready to play. There's a 3v2 on a short side, there's an offload, there's a quick play of the ball, there's a kick chance. And so you just kind of working in between them in the hope that, we get to be that team that can play that way. We can come out of yardage with shape, ready to play both sides of the ball. Our hearts can dictate when we pull it back, when we put the foot down. our edges are always looking for opportunities. Our nines can read the fallout of a ruck, and that's where we're after. And I just think if a side's really good at coming out of yardage and really good at transition to D, you'll be in most games. And if you think about the amount of time a part-time team gets to train in terms of reinforcing skill, just hammering it, making sure that you've mastered it. But we put a lot of time into that, and I think you can see that in how we play. We don't make many errors. Our transitions are generally good, and we're hard to break down on back of that. I do feel that we could be ready to play more. I think that on occasions that we missed big 3v3s, big 4v4s, 3v2s. But Rome up built in a day, and I feel we're going in the right direction.
Absolutely, that's great advice. And I think getting the tactical elements linked in and sewn up with the ability to play off the cuff is key. And it sounds like you're very much on that journey and headed in the right direction. What you want to be able to do is use them tactical elements to be able to present yourself opportunities to play and see what they're playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the shapes that you're using and the individuals you've got, your athletes that you've got are there to create speed or create big spaces or mismatches. And when you see them, first thing is seeing them. Second one is executing in and around them. And if every player in the York squad could do every aspect of it, 10 out of 10, there won't be with us at the minute. Would they be with the mighty Castleford Tigers?
You pitch him for a job.
What a free season ticket!
Sweet. I think, like I said, last question just to wrap it up is: if you could ask any player or coach, past or present, any question, what would it be?
No doubt it'd be Daryl Powell.
Can I have a job, Daryl? No. Do you know what? I don't know what question I'd like to ask him, but I'd like to spend some time with Ellery Hanley. He was an absolute world-class player. Coach St Helens, a coach Great Britain, against Australia. I'd just like to talk to him and get his thoughts on everything as much as I could, really. I know he started in life slightly different to where he is at now in terms of his journey personally and maybe how he conducted himself, and it'd be good to talk to him about how that change transpired. And I think it'd be interesting. I think I'd be able to learn a lot from him.
Outstanding, good choice. To wrap it up then, Rob, before Rob speaks, I just want to thank you for your time, 40. It's been exceptional. I think some really interesting stuff in there, so thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it, guys. It's been nice to do something rugby related rather than painting and decorating and that kind of stuff, which I've got absolutely no ability at whatsoever.
Are you enjoying your lockdown in Cuba? Looks like you're in Cuba or somewhere there, mate. Love a little garden.
You're breaking up a bit now, Danny.
All right.
Cuba. This is Castleford. It is the best place in Yorkshire.
I'll let you finish, Rob.
No, yeah. Just like to echo that what Danny said and say thanks, and it's been great. I'm sure the listeners will get a lot out of it. So cheers for coming on.
No, thank you for your time, guys.